With a nationwide epidemic of foreclosures, there are a lot of vacant houses out there on the market. And even though it's not something we want to think about, when the people move out, bugs, rodents, and insects move on in. Barry Murray, the bug guy from Truly Nolan, joins us this morning to talk a little bit about that and give us some advice. Barry, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Boy, that is a problem I never would have thought about.
Well, if you can imagine, Realtor.com is reporting that approximately 31% of the homes on the market today in the United States are in some form or phase of foreclosure.
Wow.
So with that, the banks are overwhelmed. They're not maintaining the properties. And we also have a kind of an epidemic of people in the properties, either just completely walking away, leaving food, leaving everything in the house, or the opposite, they're ripping and gutting the house, taking out the sinks and plumbing, and it's really causing a lot of problems out there in terms of the neighboring homes who are not in foreclosure that have to live next to these properties.
Right, okay, so when people move out, generally there isn't food or anything left behind, which of course the bugs like,
right.
But it's still a problem.
That's right. And the big problem that we see predominantly is rodents. We're seeing really an epidemic of these. We got a couple of things that happen. One, things like lawn maintenance and yard maintenance, that type of thing is not being done by the banks as it should be in the homes adjacent to
right.
where people are living. That provides harborage for people to get in. And, you know, considering a rat can get into your house a hole the size of a quarter,
yeah.
and a mouse the hole the size of a dime, it really is a big problem. And rodents, people don't realize, are the #1 cause of accidental electrical fires in the United States once they're inside of the home.
Into the
so
wiring,
it really is a great threat.
If you're looking for a home out there and you go through a house in a situation like this, are there signs that you can tell that you have a problem?
Sure, there's a couple of signs, you know. Particularly, you know, we're talking, let's see if we can see this here somewhere. When you talk about termites, oftentimes people look at the wood, they'll see the wood looks fine on one side, but on the raw side where it isn't painted, you can see the activity from where termites. You can see that. There's gnaw marks from rodents that you can see. Rodents have a very greasy fur, so they will rub against walls, and when they're rubbing against the walls, they'll leave a grease trail that runs either very high on the ceiling areas or very low along the baseboard areas. You can look for those kind of things.
Now, you have a couple of other items here, just a couple of reminders about how to take care of some problems.
Yeah, just to make sure to be safe, particularly with the rodents, because that's where we're scared that they're going to get in and cause a fire. You have to seal the holes. You really have to look at your home in kind of a 3-zone fashion. The perimeter zone, the outside perimeter of your property. Is there activity out there? Is there harborage points? Are they nesting out there? The perimeter of the house itself, is it sealed? If you have holes, if there are larger holes, you know, use some steel wool, use some caulking, anything to seal up the property, and of course things like pet food and that kind of thing outside, particularly now if you're near a foreclosed home, you want to really kind of button all that up tight.
What about ants? I mean, it seems like we're hearing more and more about ants being a problem in New Mexico.
Ants are America's #1 pest, and they have been rated that way by Pest Control Magazine for the last 5 or 6 years. And it used to be roaches people used to talk about at one point in time, and ants have really taken that. We're seeing a lot of non-indigenous species come into the United States. You know, the globe is kind of shrinking with world trade, so we're seeing ants from South America come in. We're seeing ants from Asia and Africa and all over the world coming in. And some of our climates, you know, some of those more tropical areas of the world kind of have natural funguses in the ground and whatnot that'll provide some control. When they get in over here in a dry and arid climate, there's no natural control mechanisms, and they can really spread rapidly.
So keep an eye on the ants.
Absolutely.
Barry Murray, Barry the Bug Guy, thanks so much for being with us. Boy, we'd love to have you back on a regular basis.
I'd love to come back.
Okay, very good.
Thanks for having me.
So much.